Book of Heaven, Volume 11, January 22nd, 1913. The triple passion of Jesus, of love, of sin, and from the Jews. Jesus is thrown into the Kidron stream. I was thinking about the passion of my always lovable Jesus, especially of what he suffered in the garden. I found myself all immersed in Jesus, and he told me,
"My daughter, my first passion was of love, because the first step with which man, in sinning, gives himself to evil is the lack of love. So since love is missing, he falls into sin. In order to be repaid through me for the lack of love of the creatures, love made me suffer more than anyone. It almost crushed me, more than if I were under a press. It gave me as many deaths for as many creatures receiving life." The second step that occurs in sin is defrauding God of his glory. So, in order to be repaid for the glory taken away by the creatures, the Father made me suffer the passion of sin, such that each sin gave me a special passion. Although there was one passion, I suffered for sin as many passions as there would be sins committed until the end of the world. So the glory of the Father was restored. The third effect produced by sin is weakness in man. Therefore, I wanted to suffer the passion from the hands of the Jews, my third passion, to restore in man his lost strength. Therefore, with the passion of love, love was restored and placed at the right level. With the passion of sin, the glory of the Father was restored and placed at its level. With the passion of the Jews, the strength of the creatures was placed at its level and restored. I suffered all this in the garden, and the pain was so much, so many the deaths, the atrocious spasms inflicted upon me, that I really would have died if the will of the Father for my death had arrived.
Then I began to think of when my lovable Jesus was thrown into the Kidron stream by the enemies. Blessed Jesus made himself seen in a state that aroused pity, all wet by those filthy waters. He told me,
"My daughter, in creating the soul, I covered her with a mantle of light and of beauty. Sin removes this mantle of light and of beauty, placing a mantle of darkness and ugliness, rendering the soul disgusting and nauseating. And I, in order to remove this mantle, so filthy, which sin puts on the soul, allowed the Jews to throw me into this stream, where I remained as though enwrapped, inside and out, because these putrid waters entered even into my ears, into my nostrils and into my mouth, so much so that the Jews were disgusted to touch me. Ah, how much the love of creatures cost me, to the point of rendering me nauseating even to myself.